Now, you've got to understand Justin Amash. He's been in Congress quite some time. I think he's only ever asked one question in all the committees that he's been in. He votes more with Nancy Pelosi than he ever votes with me. It's really disturbing because when you watch on the floor, you could have a bill with 400 votes, all supporting it. There'll always be one opposed, and that'll be Justin Amash.
House Minority Leader there, Kevin McCarthy, taking aim at GOP Congressman Justin Amash. Amash became the first Capitol Hill Republican to say President Trump's conduct outlined in the Mueller report could warrant impeachment proceedings. Amash tweeted this: contrary to Barr's portrayal, Mueller's report reveals that President Trump engaged in specific actions and a pattern of behavior that meet the threshold for impeachment. That tweet, one of many he posted on the subject, earned him some praise from the other side of the political aisle. Democratic presidential candidate Julian Castro tweeted this: when even a member of his own party is calling for the president's impeachment, shouldn't that tell you something? Trump should be impeached. Amash's fellow Michigan Representative Democrat Rashida Tlaib also posted this: Justin Amash, come find me in 1628 Longworth. I've got an impeachment investigation resolution you're going to want to co-sponsor. Kennedy?
It's very interesting. There's a lot of talk that Justin Amash is going to run for president on the Libertarian ticket, and he has for some time been distancing himself from the Republican Party and certainly House leadership. The Republican House leadership. He's very interesting. He's very smart. He's also very rational. And Kevin McCarthy complains that he's not a group thinker and goes off on his own on certain votes. Right. But he posts every single rationale for every vote that he makes in Congress. He's also one of the people when Republicans were seeking shelter, when there were a lot of people at town hall shouting them down, he continued to have those discussions with his constituents. And, he's not being hysterical like Rashida Tlaib. He's actually reading the information and processing it in a rational way. Does he come to some vastly different conclusions than some of his peers in Congress? Yeah, he certainly does. But that also may be a political move on his part.
Yeah, I mean, that's about freedom, and that's what a libertarian is supposed to do, not be part of the groupthink, but think about each issue individually. I wonder, though, because I'm so much more cynical than you are, obviously, it feels like a trap to me. This is what those on the right want, is for impeachment proceedings to go forward. And, they feel like that would galvanize support for the president and look ridiculous. So,
trap how? Do you think Amash could get more like him in Congress?
I don't know. I'm persuaded by what Kennedy had to say, that it could be his independent thinking. But I think it goes back to those trying to tempt the Democrats into impeachment because they think it would be bad for Democrats. Do you think it would be bad for Democrats to be tempted into it?
I happen to think that, yes, but I also think maybe he did what he said he did, which was read the Mueller report and came to the same conclusions as hundreds of prosecutors who said if President Trump wasn't president and was just, Joe Schmo on the street, that would be obstruction of justice, and he would be going away for it. So that's what happened. And Amash was crystal clear. He said, I read the Mueller report in full. My staff read the Mueller report in full. And I know that my colleagues did not read the Mueller report in full because you would not have come to the conclusion that this was a witch hunt and there was no collusion and there was no obstruction if you didn't. He may be running for president. I'm not sure. Obviously, he doesn't tap me for advice on these kinds of things. But it is something that Democrats will certainly glom onto, and it wades right into the impeachment conversations, which Nancy Pelosi does not want to have.
I want to get this in because I think it's important. Congressman of Arizona Andy Biggs actually pushed back pretty hard on this notion that Republicans haven't read it. Can we roll that sound? Do we have it?
We printed it out and began reading it immediately. I know Congressman Gates was with me. We started reading it immediately. We were comparing notes the whole time we were reading it. We read it. I know Buck, Ratcliffe, Jordan Meadows, all of us have read this report. I'm just flabbergasted that he would assert that nobody's read this.
Chris?
I think the practical effect of this is that if they move to, Amash may have given Nancy Pelosi cover to move toward impeachment, but I think you're right about it being a trap because they do that. The practical effect is nil because he's not going to be impeached by the Senate. And so all it's going to do is have the effect of motivating and mobilizing the Republican base behind President Trump. And look, Amash, no one has ever said, look at Jason Amash, and that's how the Republican Party, Amash, that's how the Republican Party goes. He's been a backbencher. He doesn't really have an impact on Congress. And he's kind of a gadfly when it gets down to it in terms of things he says in his votes. I mean, he is oftentimes one of two or three people that votes a certain way. And I think through
He's a libertarian.
Yeah, but there are other libertarians in Congress who don't have the same effect, who don't take that same approach. And I think he just.
I wish there were more of them.
Well, you may wish that way on spending issues, but there's some things that you wouldn't say that on.
I don't know. I really do.
Don't test her, Chris.
You know what I wish? I wish we had more time because I want to hear the rest of that. President Trump has ripped Alec Baldwin's portrayal of him on Saturday Night Live. But could the show actually be giving the president a big gift? The argument next.
Our American economy is on fire. I'm not going to tell you if it's a fire that keeps you warm or burns your house to the ground, but it's some kind of fire.